Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me. My name is Anthony Horowitz, and it's my first job to welcome you to this spring quiz run by the Rugby Portobello Trust, and to thank everybody for taking part. The first slide has just come up. Oh my goodness, it's hard to know if you heard what I just said. But anyway, let me say it again. My name is Anthony Horowitz, and thank you so much for supporting the Rugby Portobello Trust Spring Quiz. The live quiz is about to begin, but before we do that, it's my job to tell you a little bit about the charity, and the most important thing about this evening, of course, the target of money that we hope to reach with your generosity. £10,000 to buy books for children, to support youth clubs, to provide masterclasses for children in art and music, to do so much work for young people who are disadvantaged in North London. We have a film which we can show you, but the most important thing to remember is the address at the bottom of this screen, www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. You can donate by visiting that at any time. And here is the film. The Rugby Portobello Trust is a children's, youth and family support charity working with 1,300 children and mothers every year in the area specifically of North Kensington in London. This is an area with levels of violence, crime and substance abuse well above the London average. I'm sure you'll agree with me that every child in the world deserves a safe space, a platform on which to build their skills and to create a life for themselves. And that is exactly what RPT helps them achieve. Tonight is especially important, of course, following a year of COVID in which fundraising has been so difficult and life has been so hard for the families and young people involved. So I very much hope that together we will achieve that target of £10,000. Onward then to the rules of the game. You can play it online, as you can see, by visiting tinyurl.com/RPT play online. All you have to do is enter your answers as a quizmaster, which is me in this instance, takes you through each round. Your answers will be sent to us at the end of the quiz, and we'll announce the winner by email. Now, this is the quiz leaderboard, and as you can see, the Coasters last year achieved an astonishing 42 points, and they are the ones to beat. John Lennon's Cranberry Sauce just coming in a few points behind them along with the other teams. Incidentally, these names are all wonderfully chosen, and there is an extra point to be won for the best quiz name that you come up with tonight. Looking on that board, I see the Masketeers. I think that was the winner last year for the best name. Get it, COVID mask, of course. And the Fab Furry Folks was a very popular name. Last year's quizmaster, I hope a little bit less nervous than I am tonight, was Sebastian Folks, and somebody borrowed his name. And I'm sure that if you can get horror into your title, you'll get a point from someone for doing that too, since it's me this time. So do think about the name you are going to use. Now, the rules. There aren't many rules actually beyond enjoying yourself and donating money, but this quiz has 5 rounds with between them 5 and 16 questions in each round. The answers are going to be revealed immediately after each round, and there'll be a 5-minute break about halfway through. You're only eligible to win if you submit your answers via the online platform, which is again tinyurl.com/RPT play online. I think you can see that on the screen. When you use the online platform, make sure you have this video open at the same time. You can use a separate device or internet window. Where there is a debate on an answer, the quizmaster is always right. Don't worry if the platform marks you down for spelling. Your answers are sent to us at the end of the quiz, and we review them carefully before announcing the winner. The last rule, as I said, is to have fun. And I'm going to add one rule of my own, which is, of course, Google is forbidden. Nobody can go to Google. How can we stop you? Well, actually, the questions have been cunningly devised, many of them, to prevent you doing just that. So there's the rules. I think we're ready for round 1. Everybody ready? Then I think we can go. Question number 1, as I just said, what is your team name? And again, there will be a bonus point for the best name, which will be chosen and announced via email. I'll give you just sort of 5 or 10 seconds, or maybe a little bit longer to think of that. You saw the other names that came up on the list. This is that moment in The Apprentice where they always come up with the most appalling names. And you know it's going to be another wonderful season of complete madness. But hopefully by now, some names have come ticking into your consciousness. Not too many fights breaking out amongst contestants. I think then we are probably ready to go with the questions themselves. This first round, incidentally, the questions are by me, most of them anyway. There'll be other quizmasters later. So here we go with the very first question. As I said, Google proof. Name the two people in this photo. What you have here is a photo merge of two famous faces, top to bottom or side to side. Who are they? And there's 2 points for the answers. Once again, notice that little line underneath, justgiving.com/campaign. I will stop reminding you about it after a bit, but it is my job. That's question 1, or rather 2. Now we go to question number 3. A British author stayed in room 411 of the Pera Palace Hotel in Istanbul in 1933 and drafted what famous novel? Again, with enormous generosity, we're giving 2 points, one for the author and one for the novel. And you'll forgive the fact that being a writer, quite a few of my questions, they're not all of them, have a literary flavour. A British author in Istanbul. Let's go to the next question. Where would you find a malleus, or hammer, an incus, or anvil, and a tympanum, a drum? Where would you find them? I'll give you a clue. The answer is not Harry Potter. Where would you find a malleus, an incus, and a tympanum? On to question number 5. What is Boris Johnson's second name? I shall forbear from making any political comments during this quiz. I shall simply stick to the question. What is Boris Johnson's second name? I hope I'm not going too fast. Somebody will tell me if I am. Let's go to question number 6. Portland in Dorset is connected to a strip of land that appears in the title of an Ian McEwan novel. What is it called? By which I mean the strip of land. Actually, I'll accept the title of a novel if you prefer. Portland in Dorset is connected to what strip of land which appears in the title of an Ian McEwan novel? But it's such fun not having to answer the questions. I'm so hopeless at these quizzes. Number 7, please.
Clearly there's some sort of sense of, oh, well, it's his gormless qualities that we like, whereas I'd prefer to be a sort of Brad Pitt type sex symbol.
A Brad Pitt-like sex symbol. The question is, who is speaking? And we're going to give you a second chance to hear that voice right now.
Clearly there's some sort of sense of, oh, well, it's his gormless qualities that we like, whereas I'd prefer to be a sort of Brad Pitt type sex symbol.
Gormless qualities that we like. Is that a clue? No, I don't think it is, but who was that speaking? Question number 8, or 15 incidentally in this round. Ah, yes, the following are all anagrams of the names of British actors and actresses. Can you identify them? And we're giving 3 points, 1 for each of these: Screen Annoy, Mutiny Bell, and Gnome Pigs. They're all anagrams of British actors and actresses. And I'll give you a little bit of extra time for this, since there are 3 anagrams to solve. And in that time, I can mention, once again, www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. But presumably not at this very moment because you're busy. However, question number 9. Which 2020 Netflix series has a climax based on a contest between Vasil Ivanchuk and Patrick Wolf? Which 2020 Netflix series has a climax based on a contest between Vasil Ivanchuk and Patrick Wolf? I watched the show. I have to say I loved it. So did many others. Question 10. Back to the world of literature, sort of. Which spy novel was originally titled The Richest Man in the World? The main character was named after a British architect. Which spy novel originally titled The Richest Man in the World, in which the main character was named after a British architect? Just 5 questions left in this first round, and question number 11 is, in which American state is it illegal for a man to marry his widow's sister? In which American state is it illegal for a man to marry his widow's sister? I'll give you a clue. It's not New York and it's not California, just somewhere in between, perhaps. Question number 12. Which 2 philosophers are referenced in a long-running cartoon strip by Bill Watterson? It was syndicated, for what it's worth, for 10 years. It's appeared in 2,400 newspapers around the world. 45 million copies of the book have sold. Which 2 philosophers referenced in a long-running cartoon strip by Bill Watterson? Question 13. Alex Bourne is the landlord of the Cock Inn in Thurlow, Suffolk. Who gave him £30 million? There could be a slight ambiguity in the answer here, but we will be generous, as was the person who gave Alex Bourne £30 million, landlord of the Cock Inn in Thurlow, Suffolk. Who was it? Question number 14. I think you can guess who set this question. In Foyle's War, DCI Foyle occasionally used a cat's whisker, a bloodworm nymph, and an olive scud. What was he doing? A cat's whisker, a bloodworm nymph, and an olive scud. What was DCI Christopher Foyle doing? And now we come to question number 15. This is a true or false round. 3 points going for this. A, an emu can fly. Is that true or false? B, Theodore Roosevelt's son was called Kermit. Again, true or false? And C, the adult human body has 197 bones. Or does it? Could be more, could be less, could be exactly right. Well, that was pretty painless, I hope, and brings us to the end. Oh no, one more question, forgive me. Number 16, of course, because question number 1 was the team name. This painting is famous for being restored terribly, which I think you can see from this image. For 2 points, name the artist and name the painting. A terrible restoration of a painting. Name the original artist, I suspect is what's wanted here, and name the painting. And that is indeed the end of round 1. I think the next thing coming up is going to be a recap of all the questions, which was your team name, the 2 people in the photograph, the British author who stayed in room 411 of the Pera Palace Hotel in Istanbul, the name of the author and the novel that they drafted there. Where would you find a malleus, an incus, and a tympanum, or hammer, anvil, and drum? Boris Johnson's second name, the strip of land that connects Portland to Dorset, which is also the title of an Ian McEwan novel. We're not going to play that voice again, but you have to remember somebody speaking and comparing themselves to Brad Pitt. Then we had 3 anagrams, Screen Annoy, Gnome Pigs, and Mutiny Bell. Question 9 was a Netflix series based on a contest between Vasil Ivanchuk and Patrick Wolf. Then we had a spy novel originally titled The Richest Man in the World, main character named after a British architect. In which American state is it illegal for a man to marry his widow's sister? 2 philosophers, question 12, referenced in a long-running cartoon strip by Bill Watterson. Question 13 was about Alex Bourne, the landlord of the Cock Inn in Thurlow, Suffolk. Somebody gave him £30 million. Who? Question 14, Foyle's War. And Foyle, using a cat's whisker, a bloodworm nymph, and an olive scud, what was he doing? Did it involve crime? True or false, an emu can fly. Theodore Roosevelt's son was called Kermit. The adult human body has 197 bones. And then the question I forgot, forgive me, a famous painting, well, a painting that was famous because it was restored so terribly. We asked you to name the artist and the painting. And now, as I understand it, we're going to show you the answers. And here they are, starting with question number 2. That was Mick Jagger mixed with Kim Jong-un. One shudders to think of the record they might have released. Question number 3, or rather answer number 3, was the British author who stayed in room 411 of the Pera Palace Hotel in Istanbul was actually Agatha Christie, who started writing Murder on the Orient Express there. The hotel is quite near to the railway station. Those 3 items were in your ear, the hammer, the anvil, and the drum. Question number 5, one of my little trick questions. Of course, Boris Johnson's first name is Alexander. His second name is Boris, Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson. Portland in Dorset is connected to a strip of land which is Chesil Beach. So the answer is Chesil Beach, or if you went for the novel, of course, it is on Chesil Beach. The voice you heard was Louis Theroux. Question number 8, the anagrams, Screen Annoy, Sean Connery, Mutiny Bell, Emily Blunt, and Gnome Pigs was Simon Pegg. The 2020 Netflix series, based on a Walter Tevis novel, incidentally, was The Queen's Gambit. The word contest was a tricky one there. It's a chess contest, which finished it, a real chess contest. Question number 10, one of my very favourite novels. I had to get in an Ian Fleming question somewhere. And The Richest Man in the World was one of the original titles of Goldfinger. The character was named after Erno Goldfinger. Apparently, Fleming was annoyed with him for knocking down so many Victorian houses, so turned him into a super villain. Or that's one of the stories anyway. He also incidentally designed one of Fleming's homes in North London. Question 11. Oh, this was a trick question. I'm sorry, you're going to hate this one. Of course, a man can't marry his widowed sister because if he's got a widow, he's dead. So the answer was none of them. Just a little trick one thrown in there. Question number 12, Calvin and Hobbes are the 2 philosophers in the long-running cartoon strip. I forget which is which. It's a little boy and a tiger, which comes to life when nobody is looking. It's a wonderful strip if you don't know it. Question number 13, I guess we would have accepted sort of NHS as an answer, but actually it was Matt Hancock who is credited with giving Alex Bourne, the publican, that sum of money. You'll remember that he turned his attention to supplying medical equipment at the beginning of this crisis. Foyle's hobby, question number 14. His hobby is he does fly fishing. And we had lots of shots with him fly fishing, and those would have been the flies that he might have used. In question number 15, the true or false round, an emu can fly is not true, that is false. The second question, Theodore Roosevelt's son, he did indeed have a son called Kermit. And the last question, the human body, I'm afraid, has 206 bones, so that was false. So that's, oh, and the last one, I keep forgetting this last question. It's Ecce Homo by Elias Garcia Martinez. 16, such a peculiar number to end up with, but there you go. So that was the painting that was restored. I don't know who by, but they're probably very happy not to have their name in the frame. Ecce Homo by Elias Garcia Martinez is the answer. And now it is my job simply to pass the baton on to the guest quizmaster, who I think will probably be much more assured and confident than I am, because he is a professional actor by profession, one known to all of us. It is Colin Salmon. Are you there, Colin? Can I see you come up on the screen? How are you this evening?
Here I am. I'm here. I'm very well.
And have you been busy during COVID? Has it been possible to actually make any films or TV?
Yeah. I made a couple of films, actually. I made a film out in Budapest last year and another show earlier this year in Barbados. Under incredible discipline and focus. I think that's the new thing with the young actors. We'll just say, can you stay out of the bar? Because that's going to be the next prerequisite on your CV,
Please show me how it's done. Take over and rest all yours. I will disappear quietly.
Far be it from me. Great job, man. Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be here and supporting the wonderful Rugby Portobello Trust. I've been involved for quite a long time now, so let's get stuck in with the questions. So the first question, difficult one. Who is this? That beautiful chin, that wonderful mouth. Who is that? Who is this? Question 2. Are we there? You're happy? Good. Let's go back to question 2. There you go. So which films do these quotes belong to? Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. That's A. B is, it's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business. And C, here's looking at you, kid. Now that's 3 points. Point for each of them. Fantastic. Question 3. Which real-life Hollywood power couple starred in the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, based on the Edward Albee stage play? I think it won the Tony. But anyway, which real-life Hollywood power couple starred in the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Brilliant. Oh, mic and camera on. Am I not on? I am. There we go. Fantastic. So moving on to question 4. 4. Good question. What is the full name of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? Question 4 again. What is the full name of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? And Wizard of Oz was massive for me because I was terrified of the Wicked Witch of the West. She really, she messed with my head. So Wizard of Oz, great story. Moving on to question 5. Beautiful haircut, surreal. Question 5, name the TV series where this haircut resides. Name the TV series where this extraordinary actor wore this extraordinary haircut. I miss my hair, if I'm honest. All right, question 6. Who performed the theme tune to Tomorrow Never Dies? Who performed the theme tune to Tomorrow Never Dies? Which I just wanted to throw in was the first film of the Bonds that I filmed, actually. I did 3 in the end, but this was always a very special one for me. Our Man's in Position in the Center Camera was the opening line, and that was mine. I should probably put that in. But who performed the theme tune to the unsurpassable Tomorrow Never Dies? I'm biased. Question 7. Question 7 is, Tom Hanks won 2 consecutive Oscars in 1994 and 1995. Which films were they for? The wonderful Tom Hanks won 2 consecutive Oscars in 1994 and 1995. Which films were they for? I think they could have probably given him more. He continues to amaze us all. Question number 8, moving on. Name the film. Question 8, name the film. And if you're an arachnophobe, this would be your worst nightmare, I suspect. Just the image alone is enough to, my God, I'm not an arachnophobe and it makes me sad. So that's question number 8. Please name that film. Moving swiftly on to question number 9. Right. Question number 9 is, which film franchise holds the Guinness World Record for the most false feet used by a costume department? So which film franchise holds the Guinness World Record for the most false feet used by a costume department? And actually take a screen grab of this because this is a really good vocal warm-up or tongue twister. believe it or not. It gets everything going. Yeah, extraordinary film as well. Question number 9. Moving on to question number 10. Before I do, www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. Donate. We want your money. On to the question. Which member of the Beatles narrated the first series of Thomas the Tank Engine on TV? Which member of the Beatles narrated the first series of Thomas the Tank Engine on TV? Thus proving that it's important to diversify if you wish to continue in this wonderful business of ours. Voice edit. Brilliant. Question number 10. And I think that is me. I think that's all my questions. Am I correct? Yes, so I'll give you a recap. Question number 1. Who is this who owns those lips and chin? Question number 2. Which films do these quotes belong to? Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. 2. It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business. And 3. He's looking at you, kid. Extraordinary. Question number 3. Which real-life Hollywood power couple starred in the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Beautiful couple. Question number 4. What is the full name of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? What is Dorothy's full name? Question number 5. Name the TV series this haircut and this wonderful actor belongs. Question number 6. Who performed the theme tune to the wonderful Tomorrow Never Dies? Who performed the theme tune to Tomorrow Never Dies? Question number 7. Tom Hanks won 2 consecutive Oscars in 1994 and 1995. We always knew he was an overachiever. Which films were they for? Question number 8. Name the film. Question number 9. Which film franchise holds the Guinness World Record for the most false feet used by a costume department? And question number 10. Which member of the Beatles narrated the first series of Thomas the Tank Engine on TV? So that's the recap. And I think we can go straight to the answers. Yes, this is the wonderful visage of Josh O'Connor. Josh O'Connor from The Crown and some minutes more. And I national recently saw this Romeo and Juliet. Amazing. Great. More great things to come. Which films do these quotes belong to? Well, The Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads was obviously Back to the Future. It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business. The Godfather. And 3, here's looking at you, kid, with a wonderful Casablanca. Great stories to be told, but I won't tell them now. 3, which real-life Hollywood power couple starred in the film Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Well, that was Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Beautiful. Royalty of our industry. What is the full name of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? Well, Dorothy Gale, and I love that. Makes me giggle. And name the TV series. Well, Fleabag. Incomparable Fleabag. 6, who performed the theme tune to Tomorrow Never Dies? It was the wonderful Sheryl Crow. It was beautifully sung. And she was at the premiere, and she's a lovely, lovely lady. Very talented. 7, Tom Hanks won 2 consecutive Oscars in 94 and 95 for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. 8, name the film Home Alone. I don't think that was difficult, but my goodness, that image will seared onto our consciousness from now on. 9, which film franchise holds the Guinness World Record for the most false feet used by a costume department? Well, it was Lord of the Rings. The Hobbits, well, they took it. Lots and lots of feet. And which member of the Beatles narrated the first series of Thomas the Tank Engine on TV? It was a great Ringo Starr. That's right. And I remember watching it with my children. So I think we're going to take a break, but please support the work of the Rugby Portobello Trust by donating online, www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining in, and good luck, everybody. Give it your best shot. And we're going to take a 5-minute break. I think I was told. Great. Yes, we are. Go rest your brains, grab some water, and we'll see you very shortly. Fantastic. Thank you.
about Jack, what other words could you use to describe him other than small?
A very naughty boy.
A very naughty boy? Have you ever been in a dangerous situation?
Yes, I have. I was going to taekwondo. There was a big dog. It looked like the wolf. It was chasing me, and I slipped, and I didn't have to control myself. And it was trying to bite me.
To come back today has just been incredibly emotional and has made us all realise even more strongly how important it is to continue this service, and it will keep going. Nothing can stop us.
I don't know what I would do. Like, my mums wasn't here. They've been with me through my toughest struggles.
But it's hard when you have a good mum. She wanna be in school because she wanna see you winning. And then you've got her to the elbow.
Welcome to the RPT dinner of 2020, which, like so much else this year, has had to embrace change.
Good evening, and welcome to the Rugby Portobello Trust quiz.
What is the profession of Peppa Pig's dad?
Did everybody get that? Yeah.
Good evening. Is everybody back? I hope you've all had a good break and perhaps something rather more more enjoyable than the glass of water that Colin suggested back there. I think gin and tonic and wine would be nice. I'm told my camera is not on, but it says it is here. I'll turn it off. I'll turn it back on again. Is that better? I'm getting messages that my camera is not on, but now it is. So welcome back. As I hope you heard me say a moment ago, I think we all deserve something a little bit better than a glass of water, as Colin was recommending, something with tonic water in it, G&T, V&T, or whatever. On the screen is a rundown of what this evening is actually all about. At this stage, I would tell you how much money we have raised, but I don't want to embarrass you. I'm hoping that we can do better, and this is a very good moment because we are going to have just a 1 or 2 minute hiatus before we return to the next round of questions. This is such a worthwhile cause. Rugby Portobello Trust is very, very directed towards young people in a certain area of London, and it really is providing them with the safe space, the platform that they need to develop skills that honestly all young people have in the world, but so many of them are just not given the opportunity to shine through. So look at this, £20 can buy 1 week's worth of art supplies for the junior club, which works with up to 75 children each session. £50 can give more than 100 children in the homework club access to fresh fruit at every session. Unbelievable that one has to, in the 21st century, raise money to give children fresh fruit. £100 can help buy equipment for RPT's football academy, which supports more than 110 local children as they engage in organised sport for the first time. £500 can fund 1 night of RPT's youth club, giving more than 35 at-risk young people access to support, guidance, and skill-building activities led by a team of professionally trained youth workers. And £750, if anybody out there is feeling in a particularly generous mood, can give 1 child or young person an entire year of support, including access to music, arts, sport, and trips. When I look at my own career and my own life, I realize how much was given to me when I was a young person, and it makes me so sad to think of so many children out there who haven't even owned a book in their lifetime, or who haven't had access to sport, to art, to all the things that we take for granted. This is RPT's one or major occasion in the year, not their only one, but the main chance they have in the year to really take a step forward to help recover from the year of COVID and of all the lockdowns, and to do something for young people in this very, very afflicted area of London. So please dig deep and do it now, and then we shall move on to the next round of this quiz. As you can see from the screen, there's the address once again, www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. Well, you'll also notice on the screen at the bottom there the logo of Strutt and Parker, the well-known estate agent, who are the sponsors of this evening, and who have had the Rugby Portobello Trust as their charity of choice, and their only charity of choice for some time. And my job now is to introduce you to the next quizmaster, who is from Strutt and Parker. Miles Meacock runs the Westbourne office, so he is very much on the spot and in the area where the charity is working. And I think he should be popping up any moment now. There, with remarkable efficiency.
Hello.
The same efficiency, I'm sure, Miles, you bring to your business. I have just 2 questions for you. Actually, I have 1 question. Why the Rugby Portobello Trust? You could choose any charity in the world to support. Why this one?
Thank you, Anthony. Why? I think it's a genuinely local charity, and it operates in the area that I work in. So I feel I have a close affinity to the charity, which we love supporting. I think it would feel rather disingenuous to support a charity which was foreign to us or in an area that we couldn't feel involved in. But as agents, we sell and rent properties, so give people a home. And in the area that we work, it seems only appropriate that we should sponsor a charity such as the RPT, who do the most fantastic job. So I do hope that everyone is digging deep this evening whilst battling against their friends for the prize of tonight.
And of course, we haven't said what the prize is. It is glory. That is what we're offering tonight. Glory, your name on the leaderboard, and a chance to kick off the coasters who won last time round. Anyway, over to you, Miles. It's your round.
Thank you. So round 3. Well, thank you, first of all, and thank you for letting me join such an eminent group of celebrated quizmasters. I'm very humbled to be taking part and giving you the general knowledge round 3. So question number 1, what are or were Piccadilly weepers? That's a lovely thought. What are or were Piccadilly weepers? The mind races as to what they might have been or are. What are or were Piccadilly weepers? Number 2 on our general knowledge round. Oh, this was a good one. Number 2, porcine is piggy, equine is horsey. What is sheepy? I love that question. I think we all know porcine is piggy. We should all know that equine is horsey. What is the sheepy equivalent? That's a really super question. I can't, although I'm reading these questions for round 3, I can't claim to be the author of these brilliant suggestions. You know, I take no glory from these clever queries. So question 2, porcine is piggy, equine is horsey. What is sheepy? And now we'll go on to question 3. Yes, a literary query. When Fitzwilliam married Elizabeth in Meryton, what was their married name? When Fitzwilliam married Elizabeth in Meryton, what was their married name? I'm sure we'll all know this one if you've watched the film or read the book or whatever it might be. Don't want to give any more clues. When Fitzwilliam married Elizabeth in Meryton, what was their married name? There's question 3. Now on to question 4. Oh yes, so this is slightly closer to home for me, working in Westbourne Grove. Ladbroke Grove Tube Station was established in 1864, but under a different name. What was it called? You've got 4 choices. Was it A, Portobello Road? Was it B, North Kensington? C, Notting Hill? Or D, St Quentin? So Ladbroke Grove Tube Station was established in 1864, but under a different name. What was it called? Was it Portobello Road, North Kensington, Notting Hill, or St Quentin? So a test of your historical knowledge and your local area knowledge for Notting Hill and W11 and W10. And now I think mine's a foreshortened round. Now on to question 5 of the general knowledge round 3. Which country has the same vowel 3 times in the first 5 letters? It's not meant to be a tongue twister, but you've got to think. Which country has the same vowel 3 times in the first 5 letters? It will make you scribble down any country you can think of. That's a super question. So there we have round 3, the general knowledge round. And I think we can quickly go to a recap of those questions for round 3. So question 1 was, what are or were Piccadilly weepers? Question 2, porcine is piggy, equine is horsey. What is sheepy? Question 3 was, when Fitzwilliam married Elizabeth in Meryton, what was their married name? Question 4 was, Ladbroke Grove Tube Station was established in 1864, but under a different name. Was it called Portobello Road, North Kensington, Notting Hill, or St Quentin? And the final question from round 3, which country has the same vowel 3 times in the first 5 letters? So I hope you've all got 5 out of 5 on that one, and you're now busy donating. I think we can go straight through to, if I'm not racing through too quickly, you've all scribbled your answers down, to the answers. So question 1, what are or were Piccadilly weepers? They are sideburns, brackets, big bushy ones, obviously. So that's a lovely thought. Question 2, porcine is piggy, equine is horsey. What is sheepy? It is ovine. Ovine is sheepy. for all you farmers out there. And for the literary buffs out there, when Fitzwilliam married Elizabeth in Meryton, what was their married name? It was, of course, Darcy. Okay, Darcy. Question 4, Ladbroke Grove Tube Station, when it was established in 1864, what was it called? It was called Notting Hill. It says here, name was changed in 1868 when the other Notting Hill opened. So it was a short-lived 4-year stint as Notting Hill Station. And the final question, which country has the same vowel 3 times in the first 5 letters? It is, of course, Uruguay. Uruguay. So I hope you all did splendidly well with 5 out of 5, and you're all patting yourselves on the back. Whilst you're congratulating yourselves, just a quick reminder that the website to sponsor is www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. So please do sponsor generously to the Rugby Portobello Trust. I think, as Anthony touched on, especially given the fact that we all are emerging from the latest lockdown, coming back out into reality, and I think the RPT could do with our funds. So thank you so much for donating online. And now I think we can go over to the next round.
Thank you so much, Miles. Yes, indeed so. A moment's pause again while people visit the Just Giving page. We still have that target. £10,000 would be very, very nice and would help RPT get through this year. Now my job is to introduce the next quizmaster, who is Wendy Holden, who is a former journalist and a best-selling novelist. I have to say with a certain degree of envy that she has had no fewer than 11 best-selling novels in the Sunday Times top 10 and has managed 10 years in the row consecutively without a break. And here she is. Wendy, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Anthony. Lovely to see you.
And you too. I understand you have a new book coming out, The Governess, which I mentioned not as a plug, but because it actually informs the questions you're going to put to us in round 4. Can you tell us a bit about the book and maybe the questions?
Absolutely. The Governess is about the lady who taught the Queen when she was a child, and she joined the royal family in 1933. She was called Marion Crawford. They called her Crawfie, and she was with them for 17 years. So that's the abdication, the coronation, World War II. So a lot to go at. And while I was researching The Governess, I came across the most unbelievable amount of royal trivia. And this is just the perfect opportunity to share it, because it's not just royal trivia, it's period royal trivia. So it's really quite niche and really funny, some of it. So I thought, you know, this was the great opportunity.
I shall leave you to it. A royal round with Wendy Holden. Good luck.
Thank you. I'm putting my glasses on for this. So, as I say, this is a royal round about very niche royal trivia from the 30s and the 40s. So, our first question is about the Queen's beloved dogs, her corgis. What was the name of her very first corgi? Was it Wookie? Or was it Dookie? Or was it Snooky? Or was it Susan? So those iconic dogs of the Queen's. The first one, I think it was about 1934, and obviously paved the way for all corgis since. But what was the very first one called? So question 2. Oh, my questions have, oh yeah, okay, here we go. Right, people who are fans of The Crown may already know the answer to this, because I think it came up in one of the episodes. But if you're fortunate enough to be invited to Balmoral, what's the ultimate faux pas? What must you never do? Is it A, sit on Queen Victoria's chair? Is it B, ask for seconds? Is it C, complain about that Scottish weather? Or is it D, refuse to wear a kilt, because the royal family are obviously very keen on kilts, and I usually photograph wearing kilts at Balmoral. And they have, in fact, they have their own kilt, a special Balmoral tartan that only royal people can wear. But when a normal person stays at Balmoral, what must you never do or never be asked again? So question 3. Now, this is a favourite question of mine, because when you think of George V, you think of a rather sort of crusty old man who didn't look much fun. But in fact, he had a parrot that he was incredibly fond of. And this parrot used to stalk around the royal breakfast table and peck the top off his boiled eggs. But what was the name of this parrot? Was it Mary? Was it Victoria? Was it Charlotte? Or was it Alice? So that African grey parrot of George V, which Queen Mary actually wasn't very fond of, because it used to leave little messages, apparently, on the breakfast table, and George V would cover them up with a spoon. Was it Mary? Was it Victoria? Was it Charlotte? Or was it Alice? So question 4. The royal family are very fond of nicknames, and they have some quite nasty ones. But Princess Elizabeth was a very nice girl, and she would never have called her sister anything horrid. But what was her nickname for Margaret? Was it Maggie? Was it Titch? Was it Bud? Or was it Slow Coach? What did the little Princess Elizabeth call her even littler sister Margaret? Maggie, Titch, Bud, or Slow Coach? So question 5. Yes, this was an interesting thing I discovered when I was researching the governess, because one of the things Marion Crawford did was try and introduce the little princesses to normal life. She took them out into the world, took them on a tube, took them swimming, and she took them to Woolworths. They loved Woolies. But when they were there, what did they most like to buy? Was it A, pick and mix? Was it B, China animals? Was it C, comics? Or was it D, chewing gum? So if you were a little princess in the 1930s, what would you have most wanted to buy from Woolies? Pick and mix, China animals, comics, or chewing gum? So question 6. This was one of the most amazing things I discovered in my research. Which British monarch composed for the bagpipes? Obviously, the royal family are mad about bagpipes, and I'm not sure whether it happens now, but there used to be every morning at Buckingham Palace a piper who marched up and down under the Queen's bedroom window every morning. But which monarch actually composed for them? Was it A, George V? Was it B, Queen Victoria? Was it C, Edward VIII? Or was it D, Edward VII? So which British monarch do you think is most likely to have composed for the bagpipes? George V, Queen Victoria, Edward VIII, or Edward VII? Question 7. Yes, when the Queen got married to Prince Philip, well, obviously she was Princess Elizabeth at the time, got married to Prince Philip in 1947, they were given the most unbelievable volume and variety of wedding presents. They were all displayed in St James's Palace in a huge exhibition, and people paid to go and look around them, and it raised quite a lot of money for charity actually at the time. But which of these items was not among the things displayed? Was it A, a slice of toast? Was it B, an uncut diamond? Was it C, a chunk of Mount Everest? Or was it D, a loincloth woven by Mahatma Gandhi? So what do you think the Queen didn't receive for a wedding present? A slice of toast, an uncut diamond, a chunk of Mount Everest, or a loincloth woven by Mahatma Gandhi? Question number 8. So the royal household has got hundreds of staff, some of which have got the most unbelievable job titles. But which of these is not a job title in the royal household? Is it A, the yeoman of the gold and silver pantry? Is it B, the historiographer royal? Is it C, the flag aide de camp? Or is it D, the master of the revels? So which of these incredible job titles is actually not a position in the royal household? A yeoman of the gold and silver pantry, the historiographer royal, the flag aide de camp, or the master of the revels? So question number 9. Yes, this is an absolutely lovely, this was a lovely thing to research because it's so beautiful. But when the princesses were small, they had, it's still actually there, the playhouse in the gardens of Royal Lodge with a thatched roof. It was given to them by the people of Wales, and it was built exactly to scale for small girls, for 6-year-old girls, which was the age of the Queen when she was given it. And it had absolutely everything. But there's one thing on this list it didn't have. So which of these facilities did the little house not have? A flushing loo. B, electric lights. C, a complete set of Beatrix Potter books in Welsh. Or D, a record player. So did it have or not have a flushing loo, electric lights, a complete set of Beatrix Potter books in Welsh, or a record player? Which of those things did the little house, as it was known, not have? And the last question, question 10. Princess Elizabeth was a very good girl, but she did have a naughty streak sometimes. What did she once do when she was bored during a French lesson? Did she A, swear in French? Did she B, empty an ink pot over her head? Did she C, dance the can-can? Or did she D, throw her books at the wall? When Princess Elizabeth was bored during a French lesson, did she swear in French, empty an ink pot over her head, dance a can-can, or throw her books at the wall? Which of those do you think she did? That's the end of my round. So thank you for entering it. And let's just recap. What was the name of the Queen's first corgi? The first of those iconic dogs. When you're staying at Balmoral on Royal Deeside, what must you never do? What was the name of George V's African grey parrot? Sorry, I should be saying the question numbers actually, sorry. What was the young Princess Elizabeth's nickname for her little sister Margaret? That's question 4. Question 5, when shopping at Woolworths, what do the princesses most like to buy? Question 6, which British monarch composed for the bagpipes? Question 7, which of the following was the Queen not given as a wedding present? Question 8, which of these is not a position in the royal household? Question 9, what did their playhouse not have? And question 10, what naughty thing did the Queen do when she was bored during a French lesson when she was little? So good luck with that round. I hope you enjoyed the questions. And don't forget to donate to the Rugby Portobello Trust. And here come the answers. The name of the Queen's first corgi was Dookie because he was going to live with the Duke of York, which is the name of the Queen's father at the time before he became George VI. What must you never do at Balmoral? Well, as I said, people who know the Crown, who've seen the Crown, may have seen this already. You must not sit on Queen Victoria's favourite chair. What was the name of George V's African grey parrot? His parrot was called Charlotte. Charlotte, the favourite parrot. What was the young Princess Elizabeth's nickname for her little sister Margaret? She called her Bud. And the reason for that was that Margaret's full name was Margaret Rose. And the Queen said very sweetly, she's too little to be a rose. I'm going to call her Bud. So that's the first 4 answers. So the answer for question 5, what the princesses most loved to buy at Woolies was China animals. And who doesn't love those little China animals? They're so collectible. I've got some myself. Question 6, my absolute favourite royal fact of all time. Which British monarch composed for the bagpipes? Unbelievably, it was Edward VIII. He composed for the bagpipes, and he actually composed a tune called Mallorca, even more amazingly, based on a happy memory of a trip to Mallorca with Mrs. Simpson, obviously. Number 7, which of the following were the Queen and Prince Philip not given as a wedding present? Well, amazingly, they were given a slice of burnt toast by some girls who heard the news that they were getting married and were so excited they sent them the toast they were eating at the time. They were given an uncut diamond, but they were not given a chunk of Mount Everest. They were actually given a chunk of Mount Snowdon. And they were given a loincloth woven by Gandhi on his little wheel. The answer to question 8, there is a yeoman of the golden silver pantry. There is a historiographer royal. There is a flag aide de camp, but since the early 18th century, there has not been a master of the revels. So there is no master of the revels in the royal household. That's the answer to question 8. Question number 9, the only thing that the little house didn't have is a record player. It had a radio, it had absolutely everything else, but it didn't have a record player. And the very naughty bad thing that Princess Elizabeth did during her French lesson was empty an ink pot over her head. Can you imagine that? That's what she did. So that's the end of the round. And please support the work of the Rugby Portobello Trust, as it's saying here. Donate online. Go to www.justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. And thank you very much. And I'm sure you're all hugely more knowledgeable about crazy royal trivia as a result of that round. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. That was, I thought, a terribly difficult round. I only got 3 right.
Oh, Anthony, you have to read my book. You have to read The Governor.
Is that I now know why I was never invited back to Balmoral.
Yes, exactly.
That on that chair. That was the mistake I made.
That was the mistake you made, definitely. Well, you'll know next time, won't you?
I will definitely, if I get invited back, I'll be careful to avoid that. Thanks, Wendy. We're down now to just one more round to go, which is my own round again, and 10 more questions before we finish. I have to tell you that only 10% of the people who have joined in this quiz have actually donated anything at all to it. I don't wish to throw shame your way, but that sort of is the point of the evening, vaguely, is to try and do something for this very, very worthwhile charity. So the other 90% of you, please go to the Just Giving page and find whatever you can to help young people in Kensington and to help Rugby Portobello Trust continue with their wonderful work. And on that note, we will move in to the final 10 questions. And here they are. It's a general knowledge round, hopefully not too literary. But the first question is, who famously appeared in 40 films shot between 1927 and 1976, but never spoke a word? Someone who appeared in 40 films famously between 1927 and 76 and never spoke a word. I tried this on my wife this morning and she said it was the guy who hit the gong in the Rank films. But that is not the answer, because I said to her he wasn't in the films. That's question number 1. Have a moment to think about it. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Chris Angel, Shin Lim, and Raymond Teller all practice what? Practice in the sense of do it for a living. I think they're all extremely good at it, or they probably do practice quite a lot too. Chris Angel, Shin Lim, Raymond Teller, all practice what? And on then to question number 3 of 10. Dominus illuminate meo, illuminateo meo, which I think means Lord enlighten me, is the motto of which famous British institution? Dominus illuminateo meo is the motto of which famous British institution? Not sure what to say. Should I fill the silence just by waffling on? No, no, no. I shall leave you to put down the answer and go to question number 4. Whose autobiographies are these? Now, this time again, we have 3 points, 1 for each question. My Bookie Wook is question number A. B is becoming. C, for the record. I was once asked, actually, and even offered money to write my own autobiography, and I found it so boring I couldn't get beyond chapter 1. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do, was to write about myself. And I do wonder about what sort of people feel that it's sort of, you know, that the world wants to know about them. Here are 3 of them. One wrote My Bookie Wook, another wrote Becoming, and the third wrote For the Record. That's question number 4, 1 point for each of those. Question number 5. Oh, I love this question. I didn't write this one, but I thought it was a really fun question. What fantasy land, which appeared in 14 novels, got its name from the front of its author's filing cabinet? That's such a great question, and you'll kick yourself if you don't get it, because actually it's sort of quite easy, but at the same time it isn't, which I think is the best way for a quiz question to be. And incidentally, also very difficult to get this off Google, if anybody, which of course they aren't, is using Google at this moment. What fantasy land, which appeared in 14 novels, got its name from the front of its author's filing cabinet? If you think about it literally or laterally, you might get it. Question number 6. Name these 2 fruits, 1 point for each of them. When I was practicing this quiz, I was unable to get either of them, even though I have eaten the one on the left. I forget where, but on many occasions. The one on the right looks like something out of John Wyndham. Name these 2 fruits, 1 point each. Just 4 more questions to go, and still so much to raise for such a good cause. I live in hope. Question number 6. Seven, I mean. Toby Crackit, Monks, and Agnes Fleming appear in which Charles Dickens novel? Toby Crackit, Monks, and Agnes Fleming appear in which Charles Dickens novel? Should I give you a clue? You'll know the novel, that's for sure. There's a reason why maybe you won't know these names. Toby Crackit, Monks, and Agnes Fleming. In a Charles Dickens novel, which one? Question number 8. I-splice, contractor, and Zeppelin bends are all types of what? I-splice, contractor, and Zeppelin bends are all types of what? I don't think there was any clue in that at all, but there isn't really. The last word, there's a sort of a clue in that. Question number 9. Oh my goodness, we're so nearly at the end. Question number 9. Oh, this is a fun question. Which logo, created by Rob Janoff in 1977, replaced a logo which showed Sir Isaac Newton? And I was going to say that he was sitting under a tree when this happened, and underneath this logo was written the words, "A mind forever foraging through strange seas of thought." Which logo created by Rob Janoff in 1977, replaced a logo which showed Sir Isaac Newton? Question number 10. Oh, an easy one to finish with. Who was Captain Haddock's butler? He worked at Marlin Spike Hall. But what was his name? Captain Haddock's butler. A moment to reflect on all 10 questions. Here we go, the last round of this quiz. Who famously appeared in 40 films shot between 1927 and 1976, but never spoke a word? What do Chris Angel, Shin Lim and Raymond Teller all practice? Dominus Illuminatio Meo is the motto of which famous British institution? Whose autobiographies are My Bookie Wook, Becoming, and For the Record? What fantasy land, which appeared in 14 novels, got its name from the front of its author's filing cabinet? Name these fruits. Sounds like a game show. Name these fruits. Toby Crackit, Monks and Agnes Fleming appear in which Charles Dickens novel? What are ice splice, contractor and Zeppelin bends forms or types of? A logo created by Rob Janoff in 1977, replacing a logo which showed Sir Isaac Newton, and Captain Haddock's butler. And that, everybody, is the end of the quiz. And I'll be very keen to know if coasters have been knocked off their perch. I'll also be keen to know how much we've raised, but here are the answers. The person who appeared in all those films was Alfred Hitchcock, who was those films shot between 1927 and 76. I today appeared in Magpie Murders, which is being filmed here in Suffolk, in homage to the great Alfred Hitchcock. Chris Angel, Shin Lim and Raymond Teller are all magicians. Raymond Teller is pennant teller. I think the Raymond is a bit off-putting. Dominus Illuminatio Meo is the motto of Oxford University. The three autobiographies, Russell Brand, Michelle Obama, of course, Becoming. It's a wonderful book, I loved it. And For the Record, David Cameron, haven't read it. Sorry, David. Question number 5, what fantasy land? Oh, isn't this great? The fantasy land from the filing cabinet is Oz. O to Z is what they saw on the front of it, on one of the drawers, and called it Oz. It could have been, I suppose, the wonderful Wizard of Ath, if they'd looked a little bit higher, but there you are. Question number 6. The two fruits are a mangosteen, that's the one which I've eaten, I think in Singapore or somewhere, and the other one is an ackee. I hope it tastes better than it looks. Toby Crackit, Monks and Agnes Fleming are in Oliver Twist. Toby Crackit is a thief, Monks actually is the villain of the piece, and Agnes Fleming is Oliver's mother, but none of them appeared in the Lionel Bart film, as far as I know, or maybe Toby Crackit did, and that's why people don't really know them. Monks is a major character in the book, but sadly cut out of the musical. Ice Splice, Contractor and Zeppelin bends are all types of what? It rhymes with not, which is what they are, knots. I slightly mucked up this one, I'll be honest, and I think I rather gave it away. I get nul point for quiz mastering, I'm afraid. The logo was apple, which so Isaac Newton was sitting under an apple tree, but later on it was replaced, of course, with the half-bitten apple. Steve Jobs, incidentally, when asked why he called his company Apple, replied, I love apples and like to eat them. So now you know how to become a multi-billionaire. And I've always been a lifelong fan of Tintin, so I had to put one Tintin question in, and the answer to that question was Nestor. So that brings us to the end of the quiz. Hold a second, I'm just getting a message on my iPhone. We are now 13% of the way to our target of £10,000, which may sound a bit grim, but actually it's okay because you've got plenty of time to give at the end when you're not preoccupied with this quiz and doing your best to rise to the top of the leaderboard. I'm sure that the page will be there for a while to come. You can visit Just Giving at any time, and if you've enjoyed tonight, maybe you'll show your appreciation by giving something to the Rugby Portobello Trust. As this caption in front of me says, if you've played along tonight, your answers will be sent to us for review, and we'll announce the winner via email later on in the evening. If you've been marking your own answers, don't forget to post your final scores in the live chat. And there, once again, underneath is the address, justgiving.com/campaign/RPT Spring Quiz. I wouldn't have done this if I did not fully support and believe in this really wonderful and effective charity. So what is left for me to do? Only really to thank everybody who has donated so far, and everybody who I'm sure will be thinking about donating later this evening. I want to thank also the 3 quiz hosts, Colin Salmon Miles Meacock and Wendy Holden, for their questions and their contribution. I have to also thank Richard Hilliard and Richard Humphreys, who supplied the questions that we quizmasters did not, and came up with lots of wonderful questions. There is a quiz committee who has been behind this, working away for weeks and weeks to make the evening run smoothly. RPT's sponsor is Strutton Parker. They have been doing this for 12 years or more, and it is wonderful that they still continue to believe in and to support Rugby Portobello Trust. My thanks especially to them. And finally, the silent voice. You may have noticed me glancing to the right to look at my phone to get the messages that are coming in all the time during the course of the evening. Sophie Plath-Martin has been the silent voice, bringing all this together. And as you can imagine, it really has been like herding sheep. And without her, it would have gone, I can tell you, horribly wrong. But I hope it hasn't gone wrong for you. I hope you've enjoyed the evening. I hope you have managed to do better in the scores than I managed when I was faced with the questions that I hadn't written. And thank you once again for supporting Rugby Portobello Trust. Thank you for being here tonight. And we look forward to seeing you, I suppose, next year or whatever we come up with next. Have a safe time. Enjoy the exit from COVID, and let's all get on with a happy and successful life. That's me, Anthony Horowitz, saying good night and thank you to you all.